Herzlich willkommen zum zweiten Vortrag.
Thank you very much to the second lecture, for the ones that were already here during the first lecture. My name is Mathieu Coquelin. The topic is on a team democracy. I deal with the topics since 2015, and with a team democracy, I have a kind of a particular approach that we have then created. So we're going to try to give you an overview of what we do. So I decided to have this kind of structure. So we can see here something that we tested this morning. So then I think that I wanted to particularly focus on yesterday, because actually we wanted to show you that not everything, of course, always working fine. It's also kind of a transparent process I wanted to show you. So wanted to show you also then all the possibility to understand where we did something wrong, and so where we could improve. And then on the issue, on the topic today, so then we can say that one particular project, and actually we did not know how our first projects were. So something particularly important, something that is going to be then very interesting for tomorrow, which is our third topic, something that we can maybe then solve with different questions. I wanted to give you the possibility to, maybe then to generate the handout through this kind of a QR code. So you have then all the different concepts in German and in English, which is also very useful for the simultaneous interpreting service. Wonderful. So we can start directly with yesterday. So we can just say that our desk is particularly important, something that was absolutely very interesting, and this desk that was then called Extremism Distancing was particularly important, but was also then working hand in hand with CONEX, with the Competence Center Against Extremism in Baden-Württemberg. I didn't know that he was holding a lecture before me, which means that we are cooperating together with them. And so we see then that we have also then a particular project that we carry out. We have a pedagogic possibilities, and so in this radicalization process we can really then step in, and then we have also particular then possibilities. We have lectures, we have also a different kind of advice activities, which is support. We have then specialized people that are working in situ, where I had just 4 people that are working with me. So we're not working directly with young people, but we are working through a structure, through of course the social workers. So we have then many people that are working in this way. So we have people and activities that belong to our portfolio, and I think that in this way, so we can have a good approach. The last thing that we have as an offer of a portfolio are the workshops. As we already said, we see that as we have sometimes these workshops that are particularly important, and we can say that we have then prevention activities. We have then things that are particularly interesting for the society and also for all of us in terms of prevention and extremism prevention. And I think that we need to have orientation, we need to have then also then impulses, we need to have also then the possibility to of course establish and set up workshops and lectures that are going to be of paramount importance in order to differentiate what are the stereotypes and then real life. So we try to have a kind of homogeneous groups where there are not only victims or just perpetrators, but we have, of course, different kinds of groups. So we have then people that we have then racist stereotypes, we have a conspiracy theory, so kind of heterogeneous group. So we have many different representatives, many different representations of these issues. And I think that with this desk, with this specialized desk, where we need to have, of course, a very important and differentiated, diverse range of representations. I'll let maybe then to explain so the system of workshops. This is absolutely very important for different concepts that we're going to see very soon. We have seen very often in practical terms that first we have a problem that is perceived. So we have a problem, the one that we heard from Dr. Köhler, and then we had, for example, gaming. We have school, like a favorite issue. Let's say this is also a topic that creates problems, and so we have to perceive first this kind of problem, and we have to identify this problem. If it's not identified, so we have many elements that then are going to be a much clearer. So, for example, in 2016 or 15, we saw that we have religious radicalization that was then identified. That were not only actually then problems related to religion, but there were also racist relations, there were also racist events, and we can see that we see that we do not have these problems that are going to be then dealt with, with the workshops. But we try to extend this kind of issue to some other specialized people, maybe then in a school or maybe to somebody else, and so in this way we can see that maybe together we can come to a solution, so we have maybe a better perception of this kind of workshops. So maybe we can say that we have then sometimes this kind of structures that are customer oriented. This is something that we can maybe recognize within our workshops. And then the offers, so we see that our workshops are not then the ones that you can have as a single thing, but they are going to be multiplied in situ. So we have the trainers, so maybe we have other topics, so hate speeches, we have radicalization, we have discrimination, and so on. And therefore we have tested all that with a particular target group. We had a group feedback, and which is very important that discuss all together. We have an interaction, so we try to be together in situ, because we think that people are also then emotionally loaded, let's say, and so maybe there's a better interaction within people, and so that maybe then this kind of prevention concept can be better conveyed. And then about financing, we had some deficits in the last years. Of course, it's a very important rule structures with the workshops, materials, and also a particular approach. We wanted to apply all that, want to implement all that, but we needed at a certain point also to have also some external financing, because we need to have somebody that will also come in from the outer world, let's say, that could maybe then better describe things, so we could also then understand how then we can deal with some particular internal issue, just like maybe then finance, and that's what we needed to have, probably then professional support, and so because of course we have some particular obligations that we have to comply with. That's the reason why, so we need to have a professional support, and we think that we had, of course, some regular meetings, we had a regular workshops, and so we had different issues that we wanted to deal with, but then we wanted to really have the possibility to create then offers. So everything goes back to the very first element, to offers to people, so that people could interact, could maybe then exchange their thoughts and their considerations within the workshops. Last year, I can say that we came then to a particular special deal. There was somebody that came and then said, we had a particular offer that was to set up a team democracy. So, which means that this was a kind of partnership. So, of course, as a partnership for democracy, this is, of course, a very important association for all those who want to come from Germany. So maybe they could maybe understand that this was a very good opportunity for us, together with the city of Sindelfingen. And we wanted to have then the development of a regional of extremism prevention concept. That's the reason why we have also then a particular then a professional desk in the city and the professional office where we have professionals that are then cooperate professionals that are cooperating with different authorities, and just like also DPT. So we wanted to have the possibility not only to have an advice or maybe to exchange support, but we wanted to also to work together with the professionals, so in order to convey a direct message of extremism prevention. That's why we wanted to have qualified professionals. And what we did was to create this kind of acronym, so that this kind of slogan. It's very important because with each single letter we have something important. So it's something that's for about. Something wanted to add something that was called a Logan, which means that then a particular then acronyms in German, the German language, and I want to tell you that we had a very important issue. So the basics of radicalization. So I wanted to understand the research, and we wanted to also have feedback from the support office, and wanted to have also basic knowledge on Islam, on associations. This is very important. Also, as a second element, this is something very significant because we wanted to understand all the different pre-judges and preconcepts on Islam, and we had also then, of course, the interaction with associations that gave us some information in Sindelfingen in situ. And then the third very important element is the so-called analysis of narratives. So we had things that were discussed during these 2 days of this workshop. So we wanted to understand all this kind of narratives, and we wanted to observe on these phenomena, and we thought that probably we could discuss many different issues. And then the other block that we discussed during the next 3 days was anti-Semitism as the first issue, and then we could see that of course that war was also very important focus we discussed upon, and of course we had different things. We had the conspiracy theories and the fake news, so we could also better understand all this kind of period. This was the second issue that we discussed upon during this second 3 days. And of course we had also then fake news, and then of course the training. This was of course the conclusion of this kind of training. This was absolutely important because this was something very important. The principle at this sixth element was to have a lot of criticism. We wanted to criticize different problems. We wanted to be practical, and we wanted to pragmatic. We did not want to show you that this process was absolutely perfect. No, we wanted to, of course, to have, of course, the solution of some problems. So that's why we want to have kind of multiplication. So train the trainer, and the people that are holding the workshops need to be, of course, criticized, because there are other possibilities, other alternatives, and these are things that we can see, for example, with young people, with some other stakeholders, so they can really then tell us what is important, what is to be improved. And then after this 6 days, so we had, of course, the possibility to have another block of 3 days where we could talk about prevention of radicalization. And so we have here then some other topics. So the rules, structures as the first issue. And then we had a case work, and I had a third issue, also the exam. So this is very important to have this kind of rule structure, so that we can understand how we work together, and so that we can find ways to identify yourself in this kind of structure. And we believe that we could focus then on very strong case works, and of course we had the exam, as I said, and I think that we had the so-called Conrads. We had also people that not just understanding one thing, but that can perceive different issues, and so because they can also establish contact with a reference person, and we believe that these are very strong, very intensive trainings, and we believe that these people can also then convey the message about this kind of networks, about this kind of trainings, workshops, so that they can only understand where we are, and so they can really understand who we work with, with Conex, with sometimes the police as well. So this basically is our team democracy. So we can see that we had many people that participated and wanted to have a heterogeneous environment, with different professionals. Then we have finished then this kind of we have also finished this training, but since it's quite late, so probably maybe we can see just one result. We can see that we can see here in general. So we have seen that the worst grade that we received was a 1.8, which is a good grade in Germany. And anyway, so something that would like also to stress out is that we had very good results, and also we can see that in March, April, and May, these were the 3 months when these training took place. And then in June we had also some other training. We had the possibility of to carry out different kinds of activities, and there were some workshops. There were also then different case works. So we had also 3 different advice contacts. We had also a support group that could maybe then consider and observe people that were working there. So that we have people that maybe also then take pictures. They could also then carry out graffitis and so on. And something which is very important, something which was absolutely very good, was that we had a direct event in this team democracy. And we're particularly proud of this event, because on Saturday night, when it was almost 30 degrees, and we had also then many different celebrations in the city. At the same time, we had also 30 young people that came to us. So at 7 o'clock on Saturday night, to talk about anti-Semitism. So, and we think this was probably the best feedback in the last 7 years from the young people, because we thought that in this case, so we had to consider that probably so that this could not be so successful, but actually in the end it was, and we think that they had the possibility to maybe to exchange on very important topics. Then in the meantime, so we had then a new office in the city of Ulm, and then we have then two then offices with Sindelfingen and in Ulm. And so if you want to know something more, some more information about Team Demokratie, and then of course, so we wanted to give some more information about the rural area. This is absolutely important because we think that this is absolutely very important, not only the city, but also the rural area as well. And we think that this is absolutely important.